Hello everyone, apologies. It's like 80 degrees in here and I've been drinking tea, hot tea, so I'm just sweating now. It's everything you've ever wanted. Not me, you. So I gotta turn the air on. Gotta cool the room down a little bit. So this was a request. Islam's Golden Age, fall of the, last time I said Abbasids. Is that how I said it? Yes, I said Abbasids and it's Abbasids. So we'll break this down into two 14+ minute videos and let's go right now.
The 8th century Middle East. A new dynasty seized control of one of the world's greatest empires, the Islamic Caliphate. Though little remembered in the West today, the Abbasids reigned for 5 centuries. They oversaw an era of Islamic military dominance, city building, brilliant scholarship, and technological innovation. It has come to be remembered as Islam's Golden Age. This is the story of the Abbasid Caliphate. It's great to welcome back as video sponsors Raid Shadow Legends, the hugely successful fantasy tactical battle game. The Abbasid Caliphate had flourished under the reign of Caliph Harun al-Rashid. And to ensure its continued success, he arranged his succession in a way that he believed would ensure stability and peace. His son, Muhammad, was to be his heir, but in a move common since the time of the Umayyads, he also named another son, Abdullah, as Muhammad's heir. It proved a recipe for disaster. In 809, in Baghdad, Muhammad succeeded his father as caliph, taking the title Al-Amin, the Trustworthy. His half-brother, Abdullah, became governor of Khorasan with the title Al-Ma'mun, the Trusted One. Rival factions soon formed at both courts. In Baghdad, Al-Amin's advisors urged him to remove his brother from the succession. And just a year into his reign, he tore up his father's arrangement. Al-Ma'mun was furious. Fraternal distrust exploded into civil war.
It's power. Any different group, there was always a power structure, and that power structure was always cutthroat. It's just whenever it's set up like this to where somebody anoints the next person, it's never going to be good. You almost need to have an election where everyone can input their own thoughts and ideas. That's not perfect, because one person could be for this, some people could be for this person, and they put this person in, and then this group is, we're going to get our guy in. And, what I'm saying is this isn't frowned upon because the Abbasids did it. This is something that's just done.
Al-Ma'mun's Khorasani forces won a great victory against a much larger force at Ray and marched on to besiege Baghdad in 812. After a bloody year-long siege, the city fell. Caliph Al-Amin was captured as he tried to flee and executed. Initially, Al-Ma'mun ruled the caliphate from his old base at Merv. Here, in an effort to widen his support after the civil war, he fostered a new alliance with the Alids, This powerful family was descended from Ali, 4th Caliph and son-in-law of the Prophet Muhammad. They'd later become leaders of Shia Islam, the branch of Islam that believes true spiritual authority belongs to Ali's descendants. Instead of traditional Abbasid black, Al-Mamun's court began to wear green, a colour associated with the Alids. Al-Mamun even married 2 of his daughters into the Alid family, and made Alid Imam Ali al-Rida his heir apparent. But these policies sparked hostility back in Iraq, and led to major revolts in Baghdad. After 6 years, the Caliph moved the capital back there to restore order, and abandoned his Alid alliance. Al-Mamun is also remembered for his attempts to impose a new religious doctrine on the Caliphate. He first invited distinguished scholars to Baghdad to discuss theological issues, such as the deeds of the companions of the Prophet, the Hadiths, and the nature of the Quran. However, his pronouncement that the Quran was at some point created by God, rather than co-eternal with God, encountered bitter resistance. 18 years of religious persecution followed, a period known as the Minha, or Inquisition, which saw dissenting scholars imprisoned or even executed. In 833, Al-Mamun was succeeded by his brother, who took the title Al-Mutasim. He'd prove far less interested in theological debate than the clash of arms. The armies of the Abbasid Caliphate, renowned in battle, were drawn from both Arab and non-Arab subjects. The Khorasanis, soldiers of the frontier province of Khorasan, were the troops who'd helped propel the Abbasids to power during the Third Fitna, or Islamic Civil War. Drawing on Persian and steppe warrior traditions, their ranks included both armoured infantry and heavy armoured cavalry, similar to European knights. The descendants of Khorasanis who settled near Baghdad were known as Abna al-Khorasan, sons of the people of Khorasan. Famed as elite and versatile infantrymen, they formed the loyal core of the Caliph's army. Other notable contingents included the Dailamis, expert skirmishers from the highlands of northern Persia. While African troops, including military slaves and Muslim converts from Ethiopia, fought as heavy infantry, armed with shield, sword, and spear. The great Caliph Harun al-Rashid was known to have an elite bodyguard of 40 African soldiers. Abbasid armies were particularly skilled in siege warfare, and made expert use of catapults, mangonels, and battering rams. They even had specialist troops armed with naphtha, or petroleum-based fire weapons. No contemporary illustrations are known, but they're thought to have been similar to this slightly later Byzantine illustration. The 9th century, however, would see changes so radical that some historians have termed it a military revolution. During the civil war between al-Rashid's sons, al-Mutasim had begun to expand his military retinue by purchasing Turkish slave soldiers. His favourite supplier was the Samanid family, governors of Transoxiana. These slave soldiers were seized from their villages as boys, or bought in slave markets, then sent for intensive military training alongside an Islamic education. They emerged as formidable cavalrymen and superbly skilled mounted archers. Al-Jahith, a contemporary, wrote of them with awe. The Turks are as good as others with the lance, and in addition, if 1,000 of their horsemen are hard-pressed, they will loose all their arrows in a single volley and bring down 1,000 enemy horsemen. No body of men can stand up to such a test. Historians dispute the exact timeline, but at some point in the 9th century, these Turkish slave soldiers, known as Mamluks, had come to form an elite corps within the Abbasid army, one that was personally loyal to the Caliph and could be used to intimidate his political rivals. Turkish officers, despite their initial outsider status and ignorance of Arabic language and customs, began to wield huge influence at the Caliph's court. This offended the old nobility, many of whom also stopped receiving traditional diwan payments for their military service. The discontent even pushed some soldiers to riot in the streets of Baghdad. To ease.
If you're not paying, I guess by not paying, they just expected that their loyalty would remain. But if you have to pay for their loyalty and you stop paying, then the loyalty stops. So the best thing you can do is never have to pay for loyalty. Unless you're, well, no, because that just goes against what I just said. Yeah.
Tension, Al-Mu'tasim constructed a new city for the Turkish military elite, Samarra. This was where he garrisoned the Turks and rewarded their commanders with land. And it's where, in 848, work began on the world's largest mosque and its famous spiral minaret. Al-Mu'tasim's reliance on slave soldiers to shore up his power had destroyed centuries of military tradition, and it had sown the seeds of future turmoil. 2 years later, the Caliph led his formidable new army against the old foe, the Eastern Roman or Byzantine Empire. The campaign ended in a great victory, the capture and sack of Amorium. O day of the Battle of Amorium, our hopes have returned from you, overflowing with honey-sweet milk, wrote Arab poet Abu Tamam. But even such victories failed to ease the tension between Turkish officers and Abbasid nobles. Some nobles even plotted to overthrow Al-Mu'tasim and expel the Turks. But their conspiracy was discovered, and they were executed.
Sorry. I'm going to get a piece of chocolate with caramel and sea salt. Don't mind me.
Al-Mu'tasim was succeeded by his eldest son, Al-Vathik. Following his unexpected death, a second son, Al-Mutawakkil, took the throne, backed by the Turk generals. They'd hoped for a pliable puppet, but instead, al-Mutawakkil decided it was time to reassert caliphal authority. On his orders, several Turkish leaders were assassinated, and he tried to use Arab and Armenian troops to counterbalance their influence. But the Turks struck back. In 861, the Caliph was assassinated by his own bodyguards. The chaos and civil war that followed is known as the Decade of Anarchy. 4 caliphs took power, all puppets of the Turkish military elite. Each, in turn, was violently overthrown. Order was only restored with the accession of Caliph al-Mu'tamid in 870. But the anarchy had irreparably damaged the Caliph's authority. Even before the Abbasids came to power, the vast Caliphate had struggled to maintain control of its many regions. Abbasid authority west of Egypt had long been largely theoretical. But now, multiple major uprisings broke out, as local governors and warlords staked out their own claims to rule.
Okay, we're going to call this part 1. When the one leader had those military people executed, I saw his reign was like 847 to 861, and I thought, he lived a little bit longer than I anticipated, because if you're going to start killing off military people, you better kill off all the, I'll say, foreign military leaders. You can just as easily kill them off, and they can just as easily retaliate. I do like all this red, and then this little red right up here. No, hey guys, we want to be a part of this down here. We're just stuck up here. Okay, we're going to end part 1 here. I have a thanks button. You can click on that, donate if you'd like to the channel. Anything helps. If not, I appreciate the you watching the videos. If you could like and subscribe, that does help me out, gets the videos out. The algorithm, I don't understand. That's why I don't have a big channel following, because I don't understand it. I don't do thumbnails. I get it. And outside of that, we're going to end this right now. We'll come back with part 2 tomorrow. And until the next video, have a good day, have a good night.